Well, we did it. This is going to be the conclusion to this session of the School of Nock. This was an awesome winter practice. Regardless of when you're watching this, make sure you put it to use. It doesn't matter that you didn't start in the winter, but for me personally, I always like to come off my hunting season and dive into each and every one of these weekly activities or weekly sessions to try to hone my skills and perfect my shooting leading into the spring and summer hunts, as well as some of the summertime tournaments that I like to enjoy. So make sure you put this to use if you haven't been following this series from the beginning, regardless of when you're watching this. Now for this final week, what I want to do is allow you to put together all of the things that we've talked about during the past 11 weeks. And what I want you to really focus on is, now that you have the understanding of the foundation and the principles, I want you to be able to now maybe either slightly speed up your releases, or if you're shooting a tension release like a silverback, I want you to take a few turns off that silverback just so that it's able to now go off just a little bit easier than it has this entire session. Now, some of you who have started this and you're learning from the beginning, you might recognize the fact that it sometimes takes you a lot of effort to get to that surprise release. So what I'm really looking for is you to find that sweet spot of, I want you to have effort to get your shot to go, but I also want you to be able to minimize that effort so that you're not completely making the front end of your bow move around as much. So as we've gone through this, I've talked you through the importance of allowing your pin to float as you're pulling through your shot. But now, once you understand the principles and the basics, you now have the choice yourself to either speed up that release or reduce the tension of your release so that you can get that shot to break just a little bit easier. Now, personally, I have a mantra that I say to myself as I'm going through my final shot process of actually pulling through that release. For me, what I repeat to myself is, I shoot X's because they make me feel good, and that continually goes through my head. What I like about that short phrase is, one, it's positive confirmation and positive affirmation of what I'm trying to do in the shot execution, but more importantly, the timing of that short phrase allows me to, as I'm pulling, stay committed to the shot and get it to execute while I still have very good vision of the target and also enough gas in the tank so that I'm not over holding, over aiming, and essentially running out of oxygen while that's happening. Now, one final thing I want to talk about is breathing. This is something I get asked a lot, and it's something that I've intentionally avoided until this last segment. Now, my breathing as I shoot archery is breaths as normal, in and out, throughout my routine, until I've let off my safety or brought my finger to the trigger. Once I'm at that point and I'm committed to pull until the finish, I'm allowing my breath to essentially just settle and escape as it naturally would. So I'm not breathing in and breathing out during that pulling portion of my shot. So I'll breathe as normal. I'll normally draw a little bit of breath in just before I'm letting off that safety, and then I'll stop my breathing and allow natural breath to escape as I'm pulling through that shot. Now for me, as I'm doing that, I'm also repeating in my head. I shoot X's because they make me feel good. And what I've come to find is once I've repeated that twice, I know that I've held a little bit too long and it's time for me to get back on the safety or let my finger off the trigger and cancel that shot. Learning your window is going to be critical to making good shots. Now for most people, I found after about 7 seconds of commitment on that release, you're going to find that your vision slowly starts to blur. It seems like you start to lose focus of either the target or your pin, or just the overall clarity looking through your peep starts to dissolve. And again, those are indicators that it's time to cancel that shot and start over. One thing that I learned as a professional is sometimes the best shots I've taken are the ones that I don't actually take, if that makes sense. Learning to cancel your shot and reset and repeat are oftentimes more important than making that shot happen. Lastly, utilize all of these fundamentals and understand one thing, no matter what the conditions. I want you to always commit to that shot once you've let off the safety or brought your finger to a trigger. If you're getting blown around a little bit with the wind, it's important that you're not starting your pull and stopping, starting your pull and stopping, starting your pull and stopping. It's important that you understand commitment to the shot. A lot of people ask, can I shoot a tension release during hunting situations? And the answer is absolutely. Same is true for a hinge release. You can absolutely shoot these in those conditions because what you'll learn is commitment to the shot, and maybe accelerating that commitment is going to be absolutely key to learn as well. So I want you to work on all these fundamentals, utilize your breathing, come up with something in your head that helps you repeat something that allows you to focus on your target, focus on your execution, and also have a basic understanding of not overusing the air that you have taken in and the oxygen that you have in your body. If you do all these things, I promise you're going to be the best shooter that you've ever been. So I'm going to end this series with one perfect shot, and I can't thank all of you enough for being tuned in to this year's School of Nock. I shoot X's because they make me feel good.